Right. And thanks for explaining that. One of the things that we talked about yesterday, and I'm convinced my daughter or one of the puppies took my notes, because you said this like really incredible. I'm going to butcher it, but you said that the book transcends the not dystop. Yeah, you said, what is this line? Because I've been
Yeah.
dreaming about it, and I'm not a professor at MIT, so I can't remember it. But I said this to someone last night at our Kiss the Ground premiere, and their jaw dropped. Well, I read it obviously, and their jaw dropped, and because they work in neuroscience and I mean, that's like unbelievable. So the book transcends what?
So it transcends techno-utopianism on one hand,
Techno-utopianism.
which is the
And
belief that technology will solve all the world's problems,
right.
and techno-dystopianism on the other hand, which is that, oh, technology is going to destroy the world.
So it
Neither of
brings
those
them
two,
kind of
yeah,
together.
it brings those two together, and it says, let's be realistic. Technology is a tool that depends on how we use it, how
Right.
we regulate it, how we design it, and the norms that we adopt around it. And if we address, these are the four levers that I describe in the book, money, code, norms, and laws. I describe how we use those four levers to steer the technology towards good and
Right.
away from the bad. And it is doable. There are known ways that we can create a better outcome for ourselves. I mean, never have we had a technology that connects us at such great possibility
Like this,
as
other than
this
maybe
technology. If we
extraterrestrial
use it
telepathy.
appropriately, this could turbocharge humanity towards amazing heights.
Right.
And it could also drag us down to tremendous lows. We've got to be careful. Right now, we're at a crossroads. We're at and we see this every day in the news. We're at a crossroads between privacy on one hand and insecurity on the other, between free speech on one hand and hate speech on the other, between truth on one hand and falsity on the other, or democracy and authoritarianism, or meaningful connections and ripping us apart through political polarization. We've got to pay attention to what is happening with this technology and steer it towards the good and away from the bad.
So what is one thing so the average Joe, right? Us just sitting at home, thinking about in our daily lives, how much time we spend on social media, how it's affecting our households or our businesses or our teenage daughters. And, like those of us I don't have teenagers yet, but I see it and I speak to my friends and my peers where they just say, our lives are so disrupted, comparatively speaking, to when we grew up, 80s, 90s, right, compared to now. So what is one thing, whether you're a 15-year-old sophomore in high school who's now doing online classes because of COVID, or a 60-year-old nurse who's watching this on her break, just having a cup of coffee, trying to keep sane, what is the one thing or two things that we can do to actually just take a deep
Yeah.
breath, take a deep
Yeah.
whiff of peace, and know that we're gonna be okay? Just like one nugget for us, because I think that's what we're all searching for. Is sure, it's cool to talk to really smart people like you, but like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like, instead of
Yeah. I'll give you.
sitting freaking out about this,
Yeah.
what the hell do we do?
Yeah. So two things on two subjects. One is the spread of falsity, and the second is our mental health. So in terms
Right.
of the spread of falsity, there's a
Well, they're kind
few.
of
They're
they're
very similar. Yeah, they're
interconnected,
related.
right?
They're totally related, right? But in terms of the spread of falsity, there's a couple of things that we can easily do. So whenever I see fake news coming across my social media, it's usually preceded. Before it comes this preamble that says, "I don't know if this is true, but it's really interesting if it is," and then we share it. We got to stop doing that. It's designed to be really interesting if it's true, but it's not. So if you
Right.
feel yourself feeling that way or seeing that preamble, just take a step back. Secondly, Google it. Just a couple of clicks can debunk 80% of the fake news that comes across and that we,
Wow.
share. Also, check your emotions, because our research shows that falsity, fake news, is designed to be surprising, disgusting, anger inducing, salacious. So if you feel your blood boiling, just take a beat and step back and just kind of like take a deep breath.
Go
And
ahead.
then finally, like,
Google.
check the source, because frequently these are sources that are, the original source. These are sources that look like they're legitimate, or could be, but they're just masquerading as legitimate, and they're actually not.
Right.
Now, in terms of our mental health, something that's easy to do, to commit to, and if you do
We're
it,
all
makes a
we're,
huge
we're all looking
difference.
for something easy to do for
Yeah,
mental health.
schedule your time on social media and turn off the notifications. Give yourself whatever time you want on social media, however many minutes, hours that you want on social media, but make it be a certain time during the day, and then turn the notifications off so that it's not constantly hitting
Right.
you all day long. Why? Because social media is designed to give you those dopamine hits to your brain
Well, to
on what's
keep you
known as a
fed. It's like,
variable reinforcement schedule, meaning you don't know when it's coming. And so you're constantly thinking about your phone. Am I going to get a notification? Is it going to ping? Is it going to vibrate? Am I going to see a light? And your brain is just
wow.
constantly like in the background, focused on when am I going to get that little bell, or that little nudge that maybe somebody messaged me, or maybe I got a like or a comment. That makes it impossible for you to concentrate and sort of meditate on the rest of your life. So just blocking it off in your day for a certain time and then turning those notifications off will help you just kind of step back and meditate about life a little bit more easily.
Wow. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? Is like a comment from someone, or did, whether it's Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, that, their job is to keep you fed with information. And it's like, wow, look at this woman fall from a building. You really need to see that at noon while you're at your lunch break after you've been up since 6 in the morning working, you fed the kids and got them off to school or whatever it is. Is that really, like, this is what's plaguing us. So that's a great idea, is turning off notifications. And, I remember when I first got my first cell phone, it was this big Sony Ericsson, and then a big Sony one. And it was this big, and I had two of them. And I used to walk around New York City talking to my dad, and it used to get really hot, and my ear would sweat. And my dad, and I'm so glad he said this to me, I was like 16 because I was working as a model and doing commercials, but I was living in Europe and New York at that age. 16, you are a child. It's not that there are not some really evolved 16-year-olds, but you're a child. And my dad just said, hey, listen, remember, that phone is for you to reach out to people. Like, that is for your convenience, not so everyone can find you at any given moment. It's like, now that we have children, so we do have to be available at all times, but to specific people and to specific outlets, right? You don't need to know that CNN just posted a picture of a turtle, or that Fox News wants you to look at a woman falling out of a building. We don't need that constant. So turning off notifications, allowing yourself to go on social media just at certain times, and even like maybe you just try it for a week,
Yeah. Yeah,
just
absolutely.
even a day. Try it for a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
Baby steps.
the book is called The Hype Machine. Why do I call it The Hype Machine? So the reason it's called The Hype Machine is because social media makes money by engaging you. And the way that it engages you is it hypes you up. It wants to show you things that make you, you can't look away from it. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's just drawing me in, and it's so emotionally charging, right?
Right.
And that is good sometimes when it drives you to, for instance, support a good cause, or when it drives you to learn something or become a better person or focus on your health, or it
Right.
encourages you to exercise or to connect with your friends and family. But the constant hyping up is also potentially bad if it's hyping you around bad
Something.
activities, or if it is making it impossible for you to take a beat and calm your and rest your soul in a sense.
Right.
So, for instance, I'll give you an example. In the chapter on social media and your brain, there's a study that shows what likes on Instagram pictures do when we show either risky behaviors or neutral behaviors. So risky behaviors might be, doing something physically risky, or taking drugs and alcohol, or, smoking, or whatever. So there was a study that randomly gave people more likes to see on those risky pictures, and or randomly more likes on neutral images of things that are wholesome. And what they found was that when you see more likes on pictures depicting risky behavior, it turns down or off the parts of your brain that stimulate response inhibition, that make you say, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So when you see more likes on risky behaviors,
Oh,
your
meaning
brain
it
says,
pushes
oh,
you.
well, maybe that's cool to do. It makes you less able to make good decisions about yourself and your health. And so
Wow.
likes and their effect on your brain is something we really have to understand more and regulate for ourselves, because we want the good elements of it to be promoted, and we want
Right.
to really be careful about some of the difficult elements of it.